How do I get more in the vortex in it? And it's the thing of like...
Now, wait just a minute before you go. We'll play with you. But before you go, we just want to say, so have we convinced you that being in the vortex is the only game in town?
Yes.
And does it matter at all what subject took you in?
No.
So why would you want to talk about something that you know is hard?
I don't know if it's hard.
But think about it. Oh. Think about it. Well, let's run through that again. Being in the vortex is where you want to be, where you rendezvous with everything that you want.
Yes.
So getting in the vortex is of paramount importance. Some things, and we were just in the vortex together. In other words, you all came in. There we were, in the vortex. And then you did the freakiest, weirdest thing. Instead of milking the vortex we were already in, you thought, well, why don't I go get something that isn't in the vortex and drag it in? And we say, because you don't. You went out, you got hold of it, and now you're out. And it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. You don't have to drag those things in. Just get in. Everything that you want is in there. You don't have to drag anything in. You don't have to fix any issues. Can you hear that? It's not easy when you are part of a struggling world to hear someone say, you don't have to fight the battle anymore. Because you feel like if you don't fight the battle, you can't win. But we want you to know you already won the battle. It's already in the vortex, and you just have to go in there, and it will show you all the ways that you've won, you see. So now let's recap, because that was really good and really important.
Yes.
So if I find myself in the vortex, then is it my responsibility to take everything that's ever been an issue and wrestle it to the ground and kill it and drag it into the vortex? Or are all of those out of the vortex things irrelevant? Are they irrelevant? They're irrelevant. The only thing that is relevant is you in relationship to the vortex. So history doesn't matter. Old relationships don't matter. The conversation you had yesterday doesn't matter. Nothing that feels bad is relevant to the vortex. So just leave it out. Is this too simplistic? Is it too hard to wrap your brain around? Are you so oriented to debating it? Have you ever had a difference of opinion with someone and you just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk about it, and neither one of you don't make any headway at all? Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican, on and on and on and on and on and on and on it goes. And meanwhile, your vortex is pregnant. With all the things you want, with everything that you want. But you're using those things as your reason not to be in there letting the good times roll right now.
Yeah.
See? So let's proclaim a day of independence, starting today, a day of independence from all that outside the vortex stuff. Just leave it out there. It's irrelevant. Leave it out there. Do you know that when you know what you don't want, what you do want goes right into the vortex? So why do you need to deal with the knowing what you don't want part of it? You don't. It's a whole different frequency. So now, we'll let you speak if you want to.
Yes, I would. Well, because it's just something that's part of our society. Like insurance, right? From the workplace. Like I need to select some box and it says all these horrible out of the vortex things and what I'm selecting as far as insurance goes. And so I've been listening to what...
So what you're saying to us, that there are aspects of reality that you feel coerced to interact with that when you do, take you out of the vortex.
Well, I have to do something. I could also say, I don't want insurance for anything ever, I suppose.
Well, make it as general as you can. And in other words, it's all irrelevant to me. I don't anticipate any of this, so I pick the least of it. Or I pick only what is required by law, and I don't even push against that because that's irrelevant to me too.
I see, just the
It's
minimal...
irrelevant. It doesn't matter, it's irrelevant. I've got Vortex insurance.
Right.
It's irrelevant. I've got Vortex insurance.
Yes.
But meanwhile, if I break the law and feel uncomfortable about that, then I'm outside the vortex. So do and think and speak anything that you can that allows you to be in the vortex as much as you can. In other words, we're not saying to you, oh, this is a good conversation to have. We're not saying to you that this vortex work is only mental. If we were standing in your physical shoes and there was a person who every time they came near us, they made us furious, we would avoid that person. We wouldn't test our vortex. We wouldn't say, well, let's see how much of that I can endure today. Nope, you dragged me out again. We would walk a different route. But then we'd get into the vortex and then get in the vortex and then. In other words, there are all kinds of behaviors that you will find shifting. You're going to be a different person. In other words, you think that's an issue. Wait until you have millions of dollars that you are wanting to figure out what's the best thing to do with them.
Yes.
That's not something that you've been worrying about lately. But once you line up with everything that's in your vortex, you're going to have other issues that you are again going to want to strike independence from the negative side of them. In other words, we're not trying to get you to remove yourself from the physical world. We want you to align yourself with the energy that creates worlds so that you're viewing your world through the eyes of Source, so that the thoughts and ideas that come to you will be the inspired ones. So you'll find yourself in the right place at the right time, you see. So if something feels like a quandary, what do I do? What boxes do I check? Then you're not lined up enough to make the decision. And making a decision from outside the vortex will come back and bite you every single time. Yeah. So that's when you say, okay, I need to go general here. Later, Gator. This isn't the time. I don't have to do this right now. I'm not ready to think about this right now. I'm not enough in alignment to think about this right now. This can wait. This can wait until I find more alignment. In fact, I'm not even going to think about it again until I'm sure that I'm in complete alignment. And then you can go back and revisit everything. But here is the thing that we so want you to hear. Do you know when you spend a good amount of deliberate time by seeking the vortex, even when your parents find you lazy in the process, when you find all he wants to do is listen to that stupid CD. All he wants to do is listen to that stupid CD. When you get into the vortex, what you'll begin to notice is, as you spend more and more and more time in the vortex, you become a changed person because the vibrational pattern of who you are changes. So when you go back to revisit the issues, it's a whole different conversation. It's a whole different conversation. It will be like Jerry and Esther, every now and again, Jerry will say, you remember that thing that we considered buying? Maybe it was a vehicle or something way back when. Do you remember it? And Esther will say, yes. Do you remember what it cost? And Esther will say, I remember that it really cost a lot. But a lot then was different than a lot now. So there's no way I can remember what it actually was. I can only remember where it was in relationship to where I was. And that's the way everything in the universe is. It's where it is, but where it is in relationship to everything else is irrelevant. It's only where it is in relationship to where you are. So as you every day spend time and you get into the vortex and then you milk it as best you can and you get in the vortex and you milk it as best you can, you keep shifting in a new place, which means everything that touches you in a new way. Memories of your past, you revisit from the new you. People you work with, you revisit and co-create with from the new you. Everything, drivers on the freeway, everything in your environment, you rendezvous with from a new vibrational perspective. That is a dramatic difference as you move from day to week to month to year, you see. Really good.
Thank you.